This is the best and most important chemical to preparing your car for a ceramic coating. What is up, guys? It's Isaac over here at All-in-One Auto Detail Shop in Greenwood, Indiana. And today we have a very important topic, something that we always hear about, but we might not know exactly what it is. The topic is ceramic coatings. Everybody wants ceramic coatings on their car, and today we have this 2026 Toyota Camry, and we're gonna bring you through the entire process to apply a ceramic coating, and we're also gonna give you some tips and tricks on what to do before you're ready to apply ceramic. If you wanna see that video where we get more detailed into the prep process, you can check out this video right here. And with that being said, let's get started here. All right, and as always with an exterior detail, we're always gonna start out with getting the wheels perfectly clean so that we don't even have to worry about them the rest of the process. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna scrub these wheels really good and get in every crack and crevice. So let's just saturate everything really well. You can see my plethora of tools right here. I'm not gonna use every one of them for this wheel, but I have all the options because every wheel is different. So I'm just gonna get in here and use all these tools and make sure to get these wheels as clean as possible. So we're gonna skip to that. After I get all the wheels done, we'll be back. All right, and that is all the wheels done. So now we're going to get into our first wash on this car. We're gonna do a total of 2 washes on this. The first one is to get this first sheet of dirt and dust off, and then we're gonna do a clay bar service and an iron decontamination wash, and then we're gonna wash the car down again, and it should be ready for OptiCoat, our ceramic coating. So let's get into it right now. Let's wash this car down. All right, let's go ahead and foam this thing down and start the wash. All right, and as I'm washing this vehicle, I'm just taking it very slow and steady, making sure that I get every piece of dirt off of this car. Even small things like this, getting underneath the door handles, just making sure that everything gets cleaned. Now it is time to rinse this car down. Let's do it. Whenever I'm rinsing off a car, I always like to start at the top first. That way the soap is running down off the side rather than onto the parts that I've already rinsed off. So if I start at the top, I can get all the soap and suds off and then just keep on spraying it down. I don't have to go back and redo any part. All right, so I'm gonna finish spraying this car down, and then we're gonna do a full iron decon wash and clay bar service, and then we're gonna wash this bad boy one more time. Let's do it. This is the best and most important chemical to preparing your car for a ceramic coating. We always use Ferrex in any deep clean of an exterior detail. It is great to get road contaminants, rust particles, basically anything that is bogging down your clear coat. Ferrex will help you get off. So I'm going to use this on this Toyota Camry. I'm gonna spray it all over, and then I'm actually gonna clay bar with it to help get any embedded particles or contaminants out of this paint before we do a ceramic coating. We want the vehicle to be completely slick, completely clean, and completely free of anything on top of it, so that when we put our ceramic coating down, there was nothing in between the clear coat and the ceramic. So that's what we're gonna do now. Let's get to it. We're just gonna start with one panel at a time. This is a synthetic clay mitt. It's different from a traditional clay bar, which is an actual bar of clay. This is just a little bit of synthetic clay on this pad here that I'm gonna be running all across this paint and every lubricated surface with Ferrex. The clay bar is supposed to be there to get out any kind of thing that you can feel with your hands, but you can't see with your eyes. That's the best way to explain it. So let's get to it. I'm gonna fold this into 4. So I have a quadrant open and spray with Ferrex. I already got this whole hood. I'm just gonna work it in here. I'm gonna let the clay bar do its job. I don't have to apply a lot of pressure, but really I'm just making sure that I get into every spot here. You can see I'm even making sure I get into this little ridge on this hood here. Just making sure that I hit every spot evenly. Boom, now it's time to spray down this car. We're gonna spray it all down and get all the Ferrex off of here, and then we're gonna do our final wash on this car actually. So let's get to it. Let's not waste any more time. We're gonna see a lot of the Ferrex come off here as a white kind of suds. It kind of looks like soap, but it's far from soap. I would never wash your car with Ferrex, but we're just gonna get it all off here so that we can wash it one last time. All right, let's get this second wash done now. I'm gonna spray everything down just like before with this foam cannon. Wash it all down and then spray it off, and then we're gonna actually dry this car off and look for any defects before we do our coating. Let's do it. All right, and now we're washing this thing down. Same thing as before, we're just being very careful to make sure that we get everything clean on this car. We don't wanna leave any of that Ferrex behind because it's a nasty chemical. It smells bad. If you leave it on there for too long, it could be acidic. So we're just making sure to neutralize everything with the soap and water, but also we're just doing our final wash on here. Boom, and now this car is all washed down. Now it's time to dry it off. So let's get to it. I've got these special towels right here that double as a nice cape, but I'm actually gonna be using it as a towel on this car. So let's get to it. I'm gonna dry off everything here, not apply a lot of pressure, but I'm really just letting the towel do its own thing and glide itself around the car. I'm gonna make sure everything gets completely dry, and then I'm gonna come in with an air compressor afterwards and blow out all the cracks and crevices in this car. We don't want any water to drip down in the middle of the ceramic coating because we don't want any water to get in our applicator pad or to get on the ceramic as we're applying it. We don't want anything interfering with the ceramic bonding to the clear coat. So we're gonna make sure to spray out every crack and crevice and get this thing completely dried out. If you don't have an air compressor at home and you can't blow it out to dry it out more, I would say just open all your doors, the trunk, the hood, everything where water may be sitting, and let it just sit there. You know, sometimes you have to let it sit overnight. Luckily, we have an air compressor. We can kind of expedite that process a little bit, and so we're gonna dry this off. Let's do it. Like I said, we're just letting the towel do its job. We're not applying a ton of pressure. We're just letting the water absorb into this towel. This is not a weapon, do not worry. This is actually an attachment for my air compressor. I'm gonna be using this because it spins, and so you're getting a wider area of air being blown out. That way, on especially older cars, this is a brand new one, but on older cars, you have some emblems or some trim pieces that aren't exactly stuck to the car as well as they should be. And so by dispersing the air in a wider range, we're not getting so much pushed into one little spot that it can pop off trim pieces, ruin emblems, stickers, stuff like that. So I like using this cone attachment here. And this is what we're gonna be using to spray out this whole vehicle. This process is very important to doing a coating or even to any exterior detail because there's a lot of water that gets stored in these vehicles, places that you would never expect it to. Let's take, for example, this emblem right here, right? Everything looks dry and all that good stuff, but let's just hit it with our air compressor and see just how much water really comes out of it. So you can see, not a ton, but still enough that if we get to doing some type of vibration, say with a polish or anything like that, that water is gonna come out and it's gonna ruin whatever you're doing. Let's just do this headlight, for example. Everything looks dry at first look. But you can see just how much is really coming out. So that's what we're gonna be going around this entire car doing, is spraying out all this excess water so that we don't have a bunch of that coming back to bite us in the butt later. So we're gonna take this around the entire vehicle. I'm gonna have one of my guys help me with this at the same time so we can get it done twice as fast, and we'll come back after that. This is the beautiful box that our OptiCoat coatings come in. As you can see, everything comes in here together. Let's crack it open and see what we got. So, boom, right there on top, we've got the coating. You see ours comes in a syringe. That way you can measure out how much you have and you can drop it evenly. So that way we're not wasting any coating and we're actually making sure that every pass on the car as we're doing it is getting the same amount of coating each time. So this is very handy. A lot of ceramic coatings, they come in a little bottle or something like that. This is kind of what like competitor ceramic will look like. It's just in a little bottle. You can actually tell how little of product a typical ceramic uses compared to ours. So you know, you're getting a lot more protection on with OptiCoat. And so yeah, this is gonna be used around the entire car, and this is just our lowest level of ceramic. This is OptiCoat Pro. It's a 5-year warranty. Still a great ceramic coating. It's just a single layer coating. It's gonna get the job done, but it's not gonna be the best of the best. But anyway, what else comes in this kit? On the other side, we get a clean microfiber towel with every ceramic coating that we do. So we're gonna be using this to wipe off excess ceramic. We got a warranty kit here. So this is your 5-year warranty that comes with this Pro. You get a foam applicator pad. So this is what we will be using for the entire OptiCoat as well. As you can see, you've got a kind of handle on one side, and then on the other side, you've got where you'll put the ceramic. Last thing that comes in here is a bottle of OptiCoat primer polish. We use this if we're gonna do any paint correction on the car. It's a really good hydrophobic polish. So we use this to correct any scratches that are on your car before we put on a ceramic. This one came in really good condition, so we're not gonna be doing any polishing. Just in case we needed to, OptiCoat always sends us a bottle with each kit. So that's everything that comes in an OptiCoat Pro kit. We're gonna get to putting it on this car, but we're gonna do one last thing before we do the coating, and that is going to be wiping down with an alcohol solution. We're just gonna be making sure that we get any oils or fingerprints or anything else off this car before we put on the coating. So let's get to it. Now that the whole car has been wiped with an alcohol solution, it is time for the coating. Now, the way that I'm gonna be applying our OptiCoat ceramic coating is actually the same process that you can use for whatever coating you have at home. It's the same exact process, except I'm gonna bring you through the way that we do it differently than other shops or other people online may be telling you to do it. Because this is an unused applicator pad, I'm gonna have to prime it a little bit more than I normally would for the rest of the process. So I'm gonna put a couple extra drops of this in than I will every other pass on the car. I gotta get it saturated enough that we're spreading out the product evenly and smoothly. So we're gonna put a couple drops on here. Usually per pass, we're gonna use about 3 or 4, but I'm gonna prime it with a couple more now. There we go. So you can kinda, if you get the right light on it, kinda see where I hit it with the solution here. But now that it's on there, I'm gonna come up to my car, and I'm only gonna do about a 2x2 section. I wanna make sure that I'm not doing too much at one time or trying to spread this out more than I should be. I wanna make sure that every area is evenly coated. So I'm gonna start with this edge of the hood right here. The way I'm gonna do this differently than others is that I'm gonna put my application on in circles rather than in stripes or in lines. This way I can make sure that every single part of the car is covered. You can do that with stripes or lines, but by doing it in a circular fashion, I can just make sure that I'm spreading out the coating and that I'm giving it time to self-level, and then I'm not gonna miss any parts. So we're just gonna do that right now. We're gonna start at this little corner and just go in little circles. If the camera is able to pick it up, you're gonna see it looks a little wet right now. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna let it sit for about 30 seconds, let it, what we call flash, which is where it turns into a little rainbow part. So this is our section that we're looking at right now. We got right here to here. So we can see it kind of wet right now. We're gonna see it start to cure a little bit, and that's what we call flashing. So as soon as it starts dissipating away a little bit, or we see that little rainbow flash, that's when we know that it's time to wipe it off. So we're just giving it some time right now to self-level, and then we're gonna wipe it off. And it also depends on your climate in your shop or in your garage. If you're right about 60 to 70 degrees and about 50% humidity, this process is gonna be a little bit faster. In here right now, we're sitting at about 55 degrees and almost no humidity, so that's always a good thing, but it's gonna take a little bit longer since it's a little bit colder in here. So right now I can see a lot of the coating is kind of dissipated, so I'm gonna come in here with my brand new microfiber. I'm gonna wipe it all off. You can see it comes off easy. I don't have to put any pressure pretty much. I'm just letting the microfiber rag do its job here. So there we go, I just wiped off that section. And right now you can't tell a difference on where you've coated and where you haven't. The good thing about OptiCoat is that I can feel it with my pad. So I'm gonna do a couple more drops on here now for my next pass. Do about 3, 4, 5 drops. And I'm gonna go on this next section right next to it. Now my pad is actually gonna tug on the areas that I've already done. So I can actually feel where I've been. So I'm right on that edge right there, and now I'm gonna work my way down the rest of the hood. This is a process that I'm doing right now. You do not want to speed up, okay? We're being very deliberate with all of our hand motions, and we're just being careful with every spot that we go. So there's that section done. Now, since it's a little bit colder in here, the climate is not ideal. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this next section before I go back and wipe off that previous one. So let's prime my pad again, put some more ceramic on here, and then do this last section of the hood on this side. Right up to where I can feel it, get a little bit grabby. Really getting this ridge here. And just go in that circular fashion so that I'm not missing any part. So there we go. That's this part of the hood done. And we're gonna repeat that for the rest of this car. Our ceramic coating, it goes on everything on here. Rubber seals, plastic molding, metal paint, headlights, taillights, plastic splitters, it doesn't matter. Our ceramic goes on everything except windows. I'm gonna continue doing that for the rest of this car. Like I said, we're gonna hit everything with it, emblems, grille, mirrors, antenna, everything. And then we'll be back afterwards to show you what we do lastly. All right, now we are done with the ceramic coating on this whole Camry here. It looks awesome. Let's take a quick look at it. One of our final steps here is that we're gonna check out every single panel on here and make sure there's no, what we call a high spot. A high spot is leftover ceramic coating sitting on top of it, right? It's not a big deal. If we get it off right now, don't ever have to worry about it again. If we don't get it off right now, when this car comes back to us in 30 days for an inspection, we can get it off with just a tiny bit of polishing. So it's no big deal. And sometimes you're gonna have that. Sometimes different lighting shows up different stuff. We have very ample lighting in here, so we're all good on that end. But we're gonna go through here and check every single panel and make sure there's no high spots on here. And if so, we're gonna take care of them before it leaves our shop. But we are doing our last step right now, which is applying tire shine. That's what Zyler's doing over here right now. So we're getting these tires really, really glossy black so that it just looks like it came off the showroom floor when it leaves here. So with that being said, that is how to do a ceramic coating on a vehicle. If you want to know how to do paint correction, go check that video out. That's to get rid of any scratches that you have on your vehicle before you put on a ceramic coating, because you don't want to have extra scratches on there underneath your coating. The coating is kind of locking everything in place. With that being said, now you have the knowledge to do a ceramic coating on your vehicle, and you know how we would do it at our shop here. If you have any more questions on the process or anything else car related, drop it in the comments below. We'll be sure to help you out. With that being said, we appreciate the love and support on our channel, and be tuned for our next one.